Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm progressive psychedelic trance artist and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. It's been a while that I wanted to do this tutorial and it's going to be a fun one and it's going to be beginner's guide to wavetable synthesis. What's a wavetable? What's the buzz around the wavetable? How to use a wavetable if you're a beginner. Thing is, there's presets who are pretty much all set up. You have the sound, there's some macros sometimes that you can tweak, but a wavetable is much closer to the start or the beginning of a preset rather than a finished preset. So if you're a beginner in sound design, that can be a bit intimidating, or you know, you can maybe more have the blank page syndrome, so to speak. But I'm gonna give you some techniques that you can, start to familiarize yourself and start to use and dip into wavetable synthesis if you're a beginner. In this video, I'm going to be using Vital, mostly because it's a free synthesizer and it handles very well the wavetable synthesis. Although, if I had to choose in terms of efficiency, there's other VSTs that handle, in my opinion, wavetables even better, also for wavetable creation. But Vital is going to be a good common ground for demonstration. If you want more content about wavetables and just advanced sound design tips, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And let's just dive into the whole world of wavetables. Wavetables are a fascinating concept. Today we're going to see what is a wavetable, why we would want to use a wavetable, and how we can use a wavetable. We're going to start today's learning journey inside Faceplant. There's multiple synths that supports wavetable. There's Faceplant, obviously. There's Pigments, there's Hive, there's Serum, there's Vital. Serum was not the first synth to ever use the wavetable, but it was definitely one of the first synths to really make it a popular style of synthesis. And it also have its own wavetable editor, so that made it very popular alongside sound designers that wanted to experiment and create their own wavetables. But we're going to start today inside Faceplant because I think that visually, to explain wavetable, that's really the best way to use it, the best display, because in some synths you have, this is a 2D view, two-dimensional view of the wavetable, and there's a 3D view. In the other synthesizer, you have either one or the other, but here you have these two at the same time, and you can cycle through the wavetable and have direct visual feedback. First, what is a wavetable? A wavetable is an audio file that you can import inside some synthesizers that are wavetable compatible. And in this file, you're going to have 256 frames of information. Another way to describe it, which is not necessarily factual, but is more of a good metaphor to help you understand it if you're a beginner, is it's sort of a picture or a snapshot of an audio signal. And you can use that picture as a foundation for a sound. Well, you can use it as a foundation, but also with today's technique, you can even use it to make it interact with other wavetables or other signals. Now I'm going to show you two different types of wavetables. There's more than two types, but I think these are the two main ones that as a beginner you would need to understand. And you can understand that they can be like more than one type also, but these are the two overarching categories I often see in wavetable synthesis. I'm going to start with this one, and this one would fit the type of which I call sweepable wavetables. Basically, what defines a sweepable wavetable is that there's a built-in interaction in the wavetable that will show its character once you start sweeping and going through the frames in a specific motion. It could be back and forth or with more complex modulations. But if I just hit a note here and I'm just gonna sweep through the frames, and you're gonna hear that there's already some built-in interaction on the wavetable. We can even play it lower for fun. So you can see that there's already something going on just by cycling through the wavetable. And I'm gonna get another example. This is coming from the Quantum Fold Wavetables by Fractal Sounds. And this is the hyperspace folder. And you know what? Let's just change folder and go into the Meteor. Because it's different interaction. This one, hyperspace, I think it's resemble more like sync or sometimes possibly phase modulation. And this is another type of interaction. If we listen to it, it's played lower. So you can see that again, when I sweep through the wavetable, sound changes, and just by going back and forth, there's something nice going on. That is a sweepable wavetable. A lot of the wavetables that you have inside Serum or Vital, they are sweepable wavetables. Now, this is a second type of wavetable that I would call pick a timbre wavetable, or tone wavetable, or timbre wavetable. This type of wavetable is designed in order to give you a good starting timbre to work a preset. They're all meant to do that, but this one doesn't focus necessarily on having a crazy interaction when you sweep through the wavetable. This one actually is more, there's like a starting timbre, and if you go through the wavetable, it's always like that same timbre, but with a small variations. So let's listen to that. Yeah, this one is a saw type wavetable, like not necessarily in the form, but it sounds like a saw wavetable. And you see that if you go right here and you sweep through the wavetable, you have basically the same tone with differences. Let's get another wavetable. Let's go into the Borg wavetable saw. By the way, these are coming from the Prophecy analog style wavetables from Fractal Sounds. And you can see that they are all that type of pick a timbre wavetable. This is another saw wavetable, and let's listen to how it sounds when you sweep through the wavetable. So this one has, again, another type of saw sounding wavetable, and there's some sort of pulse width modulation through the wavetable. These wavetables are really useful for frequency modulation wavetables because these are really useful, when you sweep through the wavetables, but you can see that there's a lot of information, and especially in all these, which are, are sweepable wavetables, there's a lot of stuff, and it's good in and of itself. But if you want to do some frequency modulation, and I'm going to show you very soon how to do that, it gets tricky because there's like too much information in the wavetable. While these are more simple, it's easier to work with FM type sounds. So these are the two types of wavetable that you need to understand, I think, as a beginner. And also remember that these were, I think, good like polar opposite example, but there's some wavetables that are somewhere in the middle, that in the sense that you could use them as, just starting timbre, or they can also have some nice sweeping action, and you can get also some good results by sweeping these, but this is not the main focus for these wavetables. Now we moved on inside Vital, where I have two exercises for beginner that I want to show you. So the first one is an exercise with the sweepable wavetables. So here I have the Meteor 01 from Quantum Fold Wavetables, and it's really simple. It's a beginner exercise, but I suggest you do that with a lot of wavetables, and it's just to add an LFO. Here, if we add an LFO here to the frame, we're gonna have that LFO action on the frame, and also wavetable position. So this is basically what's gonna happen with the LFO on. And what I want you to do as a beginner is to just focus on like what you're reading visually on the wavetable, and how the LFO is sweeping through that, and how it's affecting the sound. Because at the beginning, you don't necessarily know what you're listening to and what you're looking at, but eventually if you do that a lot, you're gonna become a wavetable whisperer. So we're gonna sweep slowly through the wavetable and listen to how it sounds. So a very simple exercise, and now I'm gonna cycle through other wavetables with the same setup, and we can listen to how it sounds. Let's try if we lower that, transpose that by 24 semitones. And you can see that it's almost the foundation of a nice evolving pad if we put some unison over there and just get that around 12. You know, there's only just that wavetable playing, no reverb, no nothing, just a bit of unison, and we almost have like the basic foundation of a nice pad. So that's the exercise I want you to do with these types of wavetables. And I'm gonna show you a last thing before we move on to the other exercise. It's the same thing, but instead of doing it with the LFO type of modulation, we're gonna do it with a random type modulation. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna have some similar result, but the thing is that with the random modulator, it's going to be less predictable. We're gonna put it slower. So that's it for the first exercise. It's also very good just to learn synthesis in general. Now, the second exercise, it involves the pick a timbre type of wavetable, or just a timbre type wavetable. We're going to work with the prophecy style wavetables for that example, and we're going to get a Borg saw for the first wave, and we're going to get, it was a micro shift maybe. So yeah, micro shift, and it is a square, I believe. Let's first listen to these individually. And we have a second one. Actually, let's get another square. Yeah, this one sounds more like a square. And this one is a saw type wavetable. So the exercise is to use them as frequency modulator signal. So in frequency modulation, there's a source modulation and there's a destination. And we're going to test them both ways. But first, we're going to use this one as the source signal. So we're going to lower the level. So this one, we're not going to hear it per se, but this one is going to be the source of the frequency modulation that we're going to do on the second one. In order to do that inside Vital, you go here and frequency modulation from oscillator 1. So let's listen to the frequency modulation as we drive up the amount here. So now this signal is modulating the frequency of this one. And if we just cycle through the wavetable, you're going to hear that there's some changes happening to the sound. It's peculiar, right? Because the level here is at 0, although if we're making modifications on this one, it changes the sound. It's because this is the source of the frequency modulation of this one. And you guessed it, that now if we're using the technique we saw here, we can do some more complex thing by, let's say, applying this random modulator to this one. And let's hear how it sounds. Yeah, there's some action going on. So now let's do it the opposite way. So we're going to just deactivate that. This one is going to be the receiver, and this one is going to be the source signal. We're going to set it up that way. And same thing, we're going to drive in some frequency modulation. You can see that in this case, I prefer the first setup. This one, there's different interaction between different signal, and this one is less interesting. But still, I'm going to try moving the frame to see what we get. And let's cycle through other wavetable just for fun. So that was the second exercise. It's a good way to start working and familiarize yourself with frequency modulation, how it works. And soon what you'll basically have some preferred techniques, and you'll be able to hit the right spots, the right trigger spots, and you'll have also your favorite wavetables to work with for that kind of synthesis. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and hope now that you understand the wavetables better, I hope that it helped you and that you're more confident around wavetables now. Also, the 2 packs that I used in the video, the Prophecy and Quantum Fold wavetables, the link are in the description if you need some wavetables for yourself and to use them in your project like we did in this video. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this. If you need some one-to-one mentoring, you need some help with your music production and some group lessons, don't forget to check out my community of students. The link is also in the description. And until then, happy producing. I'm going to see you in another video. Cheers.